I think 2 months I'll be 30.
Man, man. When did you do the loose change?
Let's see. How old was I when I got in on the loose change? 24 or 25? 25. So it's been about 5 years. Yeah, 25. I got in on it.
So now you've dedicated your time and your life to this at such a young age.
Well, I did it actually before loose change, sir. In 2002, when I figured out that 9/11 was an inside job, I really just started dedicating my entire free time to learning about this and trying to educate others. I'll tell you about it on the other side. Stay over, Brian. We're going to go to Mark, Al, Mike, and more. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com.
Love many, trust few, and don't be late.
All right, folks, we are back. We're going to go back to our call in a moment, but I want to thank another one of our great sponsors, New Silver Solution. It's supernaturalsilver.com, supernaturalsilver.com. They got a ton of great products, but I use the colloidal silver, the immune system support. I take a little swig of it each day. It's really got no taste, tastes like water, and I feel 100%. I'm not going to lie. I've been working a lot lately. I've been getting here a lot more early. You can ask these guys. I usually don't come until like 12:30, 1:30. I've been here at the beginning of the show, sometimes before. Lately, I am getting a little bit tired. I might go to bed a little early tonight, but check out the sponsor. It's supernaturalsilver.com, supernaturalsilver.com. Now, Brian, I mean, let's see. So it happened in 2001. I was 22 years old. While it happened, I was still taking online courses through the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and I was working pretty much full time. And it was like 6 months or so before I really started looking into it. It was in the run-up to the Iraq War. We'd already invaded Afghanistan.
Well, what kicked you in the butt and said, hey, this is, it's a big deal, and I should get involved? I mean, come on.
Well, the first thing was when I figured it out. That was just a kick to my stomach. First of all, I'm an upstate New York guy. I remember that day people freaking out all over the place. My friends, I mean, we're calling people, making sure everybody's all right. Some people weren't all right.
Right.
Anyway, so what really got me was I went to my old high school, and people have probably heard this story before, but went to my old high school, and I went there for a men's night basketball game with some of my friends who had become teachers, and some of my old friends that were teachers, kept in touch. So I go into my old locker room, and in the urinal where I used to suit up for games, and this is a school for 12 to 18-year-olds, I only graduated like 50 kids, it's a small school, is Osama bin Laden's face, and it says Operation Enduring Freedom. So you're peeing on his face.
Really?
And I just said, all right, I'm no dummy. I know about the Mujahideen. I know how bin Laden had CIA contacts in the 80s. I better make sure that this guy did it. And it's just him. I go home that night. I find a website called www.911timeline.net. And it was just a 40-page synopsis. And I recommend this to everybody to go check out, too, because it's really stood the test of time. 40-page synopsis, 12 a.m. to 12 a.m., what happened that day. All sorts of anomalies I'd never even thought about, never thought to even investigate, and from there I was off. I mean, I started downloading videos off of the old file share networks, Kazam, Morpheus, this and that. I was burning discs for people way before there was even DVD-Rs. I was burning CDs for people. What's that?
Nobody gave you a heads up. You just figured this out on your own.
Yeah. Wow. When I read the people who were obviously authoring this paperwork, like Mark R. Elsis is the one that did this timeline. That was the kick in the ass. I was the only one talking about this stuff. Are you kidding me? I lost friends. Some of my family didn't want to talk to me. I found out who my close friends were and who woke up with me. But, I mean, I don't want to brag, but I really did pioneer this thing long before loose change of burning discs and handing them to people. I did these CDRs when you only could have 700 megabytes of information. I was sending people, PDF files. I was giving it to them at work where I was, flipping pies all morning. I mean, I was in this long before I made movies, my friend.
I'll tell you, your film, is what got me into this whole thing. And but when I was doing searches and, watching 9/11 stuff, and I'm not sure what the whole process was, but when I first heard about this concept of, the government did it, I was pissed. I mean, I thought, who is saying this? But then when I watched the, obviously, 2 and 2 equals 4.
Well, I had a similar experience, Fox and Friends. When remember the big book in France? It was like a bestseller. It was Le Pentagate, and it was by Thierry Masson. Well, this guy wrote this book, right? And before I had really come across this information, went to my old school and everything, Fox and Friends did this story on how, and it was about 6 months after the attack. I woke up a little bit later than that. They said this book was this guy. They're like, well, who's responsible for 9/11? Well, France says the U.S. government, of course. And I immediately had that same reaction.
Oh, yeah.
Those French bastards, how dare they? I was livid. And I just dropped it for a while. When I found out it was true, man, I'm going to tell you, man, I was upset. You just run the gamut of emotions.
There you
can
go.
still get me very fired up about it to this day. I mean, it's so tragic and beyond words to really articulate to anybody. I'm just trying to do my best to bring people into this information so we got a fighting chance.
I hear you, and I'm just saying that, you know, that is what got me into this, and it really has changed my life, and it's changed other people's, because I've, you know, pushed that information onto them, and they've done whatever they do with it. But
it's a chain reaction, man, and never stop. You know, I mean, this information isn't going to stop for anybody. Things happen every single day, and if another attack like this happens in this country, people like you and me are going to be a very, very big necessity to keeping this country intact and keeping what we have left of the Bill of Rights and Constitution. I thank you for the call. Let's jump to Mark in Oregon. Mark, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Jason. How well can you do in this world? You know, it'd be the corollary question to that, probably.
No, I hear you. Well, you know what? You can always keep your head up. Like, all right, for instance, I got a couple of MySpaces today that were really just brutal, man. Like, someone wrote to me, I know you can't talk about this on the air, but we don't have a chance. If they release the flu, it's all over. You know, and I'm like, no, we got a chance. Listen, free humanity has a chance as long as it has the will to fight, you know, the spirit to say that I have individual human worth. We can win this. I believe that. I do not believe that our destiny is written in stone. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, Jason, this is not per se. I just want to make a quick comment on what you just went over and then make my comment as quickly as I can. But your emailer, you know, we all look at the same glass. It's kind of a Buddhist axiom of perception, on what perception consists of, and we do look at all the same glass, but we look at from a different physical perspective, and we include some things, and then some of us delete some things, and the perspective differs from person to person. But your emailer is probably looking at the fact that he's equating this flu that's coming up here, and I think it's by all the evidence that we have learned from Alex and yourself, and on our by consulting with one another, so to speak, and sharing information, that this is a big linchpin, as I've termed it to you before, event, and the accomplishment and implementation of the end game, the end of the end game of the Illuminati agenda as far as it concerns freedom, liberty, and anything that we would term as having any potential to gain any degree of human contentment, serenity, and happiness, and those things which our Creator has granted us, as it says in the Constitution. This is a really big move, Jason, and one thing leads to the next. So when the big flu comes up, I think your caller has extrapolated it out of that comes the forced vaccinations, and out of that simultaneously comes martial law.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, like reading this story today, where it says that fewer than a third in the U.S. would get the swine flu jab, is a good start. It shows you that the panic did not reach the level that they wanted it to. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
If only 18% said that they would take the shot, that's really less than 20%.
Yep.
It's less than 1 in 5, and that shows them that their PSYOP wasn't that successful. I thank you for the call, Mark. Let's go to
Jason.
Al. You got it, brother. Let's go to Al in Chicago. Yes, Al.
Hey, I just had a really quick